All right, guys. Welcome back, everyone. So we're just heading over here to the plant to lift our reel off. Kind of a big day. You'll see why very shortly. I know, again, right? No, it's dead.
Okay, thank you, Marvin. Come back. Yep.
Okay,
Feels super heavy.
I guess we essentially doubled the weight of the boat when we tanked down, so.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I know, right? Really gotta give it a soup to move, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, a little white knuckling going on. Just it's a lot of weight down there, so I guess if I recall correctly, it's like a 40-ton boat, but I'd have to check the documentation. So essentially we end up doubling the weight of the boat by tanking down. So a lot more oomph to move it. book's really heavy with tape. Yeah. We're at 180, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right there is good, Marvin. Yep, good. Alrighty. Thank you, Marvin.
Okay, guys. Got the thing dropped down. Pumped out the fish hole. See how she rides. Yeah, that didn't do much of anything, Dad. What's that? So that didn't really do a whole lot more when you revved it up more. Welcome back, everyone. Just down here working on Emerald Isle. Starting to get our halibut gear together. You might notice our reel is dropped down now. Did that just the other day. Starting to unbolt stuff once again, but for a good reason. So, Dad's working on the mounting system for the reel. So what you got going on, Dad?
Well, I know a lot of people have been curious about how we were going to mount this thing and make it removable. And so this is what we got going on here. We have some 1/2 inch by 4 inch flat bar at home. I got the bottom pad down already. I got my uprights welded to it. And how this is going to work is that there's a deck beam that runs right here, and there's another deck beam that runs right here, and then this area right here is accessible from underneath the hatch. So we're going to drop a couple of leg bolts right here through this end and somewhere right in here wherever they match up, and then we'll have some through bolts going through these other spots in between these uprights. This will just be underneath here, like so. And we have these boards all unbolted now, so we can get this attached. And then once this is in permanently, we won't have to take these deck boards off again. So essentially those will be like that. Then we'll have these heavy pads will be welded right here, and bolts coming up through these deck boards. So that's my next step here, is to get these cleaned up and get them tacked into place and welded, and then we can put our board back into place here. We know the distance between the two pieces of angle on this, and we'll drill corresponding hole into these webs right here, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll countersink them just like these other ones, and then we'll put the reel in place and bolt it on these three right here. With this piece out here, it can reach underneath to get to this last one easily, so we won't have to take off any of these boards again, like I say. And yeah, and then when this isn't in place, we'll just have a countersunk hole. We'll just drop a shorter bolt in there, and it'll all just look like it's supposed to.
It'll be just a nice clean finish.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
The nice thing about this too is it actually gives us a really good mount point for like some deck gear. When we're not long lining, we might want to have a tote on deck with ice in it, or fish if we're processing. And this will probably be the pretty ideal location right here for one. And so we'll easily be able to have a bracket that just bolts in here on deck that we can keep our tote from sliding back and forth, but also strap it in really securely. So things like that will be nice.
Yeah, it's always good to strap your totes in.
Yep.
Don't want that weight shifting around.
Yeah, so this will work out real good. Yeah, I'm just kind of getting this in place here. It'll be nice and robust. We're not just relying on like leg bolts through the deck. We'll actually be through bolted. And then of course this whole deck is going to add a lot of rigidity to all this. The reality is that we probably could have just put some backing plates under this and gone with it, but kind of the last thing we want is to see this thing break loose and start ping-ponging around the deck. That would not be very good. It will slide pretty easily on this plastic decking, and that would be pretty catastrophic. So
yeah, the reel's probably close to 2,000 pounds, so
yeah,
with all that line on and everything.
Yeah, it's usually 2,000. Years ago we weighed it and it was 1,500, I think.
Yep.
1,580, I want to say.
It was.
And that was probably only not even half full of line. Since then we've added a lot of line. And so, yeah, there's some serious weight here. So we want to make sure that it is bolted down solid and will never move. So this will be a really nice setup. Probably, I'm not sure how many bolts I'm going to put in here. I don't know if I can quite get one in there. I might just have to put one there, maybe two off of this one, and then a single one off that. And 4 bolts on each side. So that's 8 bolts. Yeah, it ain't gonna go nowhere.
Nice.
So yeah, got some nice big fat beefy welds on these, so I think we should be good. So yeah, apart from that, we got a couple of rails put in along here. I just need to finish welding those out. That'll hold our hooks. We got our setting shotgun back here, bazooka, whatever you want to call it. Got a bait table for all our setups to go in. So Matt's just gotten this pretty well fabricated. Do a little bit of welding on it, and it's all ready to go. And then up forward, we are finished with our davit. So real simple setup. Same block and pulley off the fishtail, of course. Got a cable going up to the mast. We had to put a couple of pad eyes in up there the other day. And then we've got a fore and aft support right here. That's running forward. It's bolted through the top of the house. So this can't move fore and aft. So everything is basically designed around the triangle. That's the strongest structure, and will prevent it from moving around. This is nice and rigid, so ain't gonna go nowhere. So very good setup, nice and simple. We'll just come up, probably redirect off of this cleat right here for now until we're comfortable that it's a good spot. We might go lower, I don't know. Even off of here, I can just easily duck underneath to get inside if I need to. So we'll kind of see where that all works out. It'd be nice to go up higher and come back, but then we'd have to put another pulley down low in order to get our line tensioned off the top of this.
Yeah,
or
if it was up, the line will come out of the level wind like that, and you want it running off your pulley.
Yeah.
So it's important that's down.
If it was up high, it could come underneath here, but we'd have to get some kind of a guard here. And every time it went slack, then it'd probably be okay.
Yeah, maybe.
But when it goes slack, you just want to be careful that when it gets pulled up tight again, it's not going to try and find its way in between there, because that's the type of thing that it'll get tight real quick and you'll end up busting that stuff off before you even realize what happened. So, yeah. So I think for now we'll just go off that cleat right there, because that's just nice and easy to throw it on there. We'll strap it down, and then we'll kind of dial it in later as we see how it works and are comfortable with it. Other than that, what else we got going on? Oh, we got some buoys down here. We got our hydraulic lines ready to go.
Nice new buoys, different numbers. Of course, we can't use the fishtail as buoys because we have different ADF and G numbers.
So we got our hydraulic bank that's going to go right here. Got some hoses and fittings on the way. Should be showing up in a couple of days. Meanwhile, we got this welded up. Oh great, I missed a spot too. Oh dang it.
Where?
Right there. How did I manage that? It's not very good quality control. Okay, so that's annoying. I guess we'll have to drag this back home again. It's just holding this plate on. It's probably fine without it, but still. So this will go forward through our head, and it ends up underneath the stove. Pull out one of the drawers right there and access this. That's where the hoses will connect to this and go down into the engine room. One's a pressure, one's a return. Prior to that, it came out on the side of the house over here. We didn't really want to put it back there again because it kind of just, it's more junk in the walkway right there. And also we would just ended up buying some hose, more hose for it anyways. And then that stuff is just kind of laying there getting beat around. So this will be a nice clean setup. Our hoses just come right off of here, right up to our hydraulic bank, and which will be mounted right here on the rail. Nice and convenient for standing here, control your hydraulics, got your block right there. So that'll work out real good.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll show putting that together or not.
Yep. So a lot of times you just go right through the deck into your engine room, but of course our fish hold bulkhead is actually like about right here. So we don't have that kind of flexibility to do that, and so that's why this is just going to run through the head and up forward, and it's fine like that. So we were able to reuse some of this old gear off the fishtail. This was actually pressure and return for when we used to haul our gear off the stern on the fishtail. This ran all the way back, and then we didn't have a long piece of hose getting beat around. So now that we don't need it on the little boat anymore, we just kind of
repurposed it.
Yeah, and we still have a big chunk of it left, so that was really nice. Actually had these two fittings just sitting around on the shelf at home already. So one is schedule 80 and the other is schedule 40. So the return is schedule 40, other is schedule 80, which is going to handle any kind of pressure that we can throw at it, and then some, because I doubt this system will be much over a couple thousand PSI. Yeah, so we are just about done wrapping up all these little things, and we'll start thinking about fishing on here soon. Should be exciting.
Yeah, sure. All right, guys. So, got the other mounting plate finished up. Dad got all welded out. And I've just finished pre-drilling the holes for it. All the fasteners over here. Got it all gooped up. We're ready to stick it down.
So we're just able to sneak these in underneath without having to take off too many boards. And like I say, that's the nice thing about this, that once it's in, we won't have to, oh boy, there it is. He did it. So careful too.
So we got some nice heavy, somewhat heavy 3/8 bolts, 4 of them, and then 3/8 legs for the corner to go into the beams. 1/4 inch backing plates for under the deck on these 2 spots, so yeah, should be good. It's surprising that it like just worked for some reason. I don't know why. I guess we could have taken more boards off if it was too tight, but
I was a little bit nervous about it actually being able to get it in here without having a bunch of welding with it in place, and so that was nice. So about as ideal as a guy can get on this setup. This deck has a limited lifespan anyways, so we've put 100 holes in it already for our deck stanchion, so a few more ain't gonna make a difference. Eventually when we redo this deck and the fish holds, then we'll incorporate a really nice setup into it where there isn't penetrations through the deck for anything. That's always kind of the boat killer, honestly, is the deck is the weak spot pretty much on all fishing boats.
and she's in. So the deck has a little bit of a like forward tilt, so no worries about that capturing water. And also we didn't seal all around it. We usually would, but didn't really see the need in this case with all the bolts and legs going through. We just use up sealant. This stuff isn't cheap either.
Yeah, it's not going to do a whole lot for any of that. And around the bolts is the important thing. So the good thing is that we did hit some good wood on this, and it's through bolted, so we're not going to have to worry about this reel sliding around.
Put our earmuffs on. See if this guy
Plug your ears, guys.
hit something hard. Went in. That's good.
Oh, was that a long one right there that you put in?
This one was a long one. This one was a less long one.
That's the one that you were hitting something on.
Yeah. Oh, I must have hit it. I'll have to switch it for a 4-inch.
Ran into a nail or something down
I
there.
don't know what it was. I couldn't drill through it.
Well, no lack of holding power for this.
Yeah.
And then with the deck on top of all of this stuff too, every one of these stanchions is going to lend strength to all of this, so it ain't going nowhere. It's a good setup. Well, got most of our rails are all done. Still a little bit of welding to do, but they're all fabricated now. Just kind of got this area welded out right here. Got our hooks on board now. it's got some buoys ready to go. So we're getting pretty close to being finished up here anyways. Enough to go fishing anyways.
Putting the hooks on board is a big thing.
Makes me feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Like we're feeling like a fishing boat actually instead of a project boat.
Yeah. And getting this reel done is a big thing too.
Never skimp on never seas. You'll gall up when you in the least ideal timing. Like right here.
It'll be right when you think you got away with it too.
Yeah. I'd bring you guys down here, but I know you won't be able to see a thing, so.
Yeah, it's pretty dark back there. Yeah, so well, it'd be nice to get this reel bolted down. Rest will be pretty simple. We'll just get our boards back in position. We can. So this part just is a removable hatch, which is right over there. So that's kind of the beauty about this whole system, is that we just lift that off and we can reach underneath and get to the bolts. So we can easily reach through here and get to these back bolts to remove them. And so, yeah, the next thing will be get these boards back in place, drop a couple bolts in them to position them. Then we can reach underneath with a marker or a punch, put a mark on the back side of these boards. Same with the short ones here. Then we can flip them over, drill a pilot hole, and then we can counterbore for our regular size bolts. We'll just use the same size bolts on that. We'll probably open these up a bit more and then use either like a 1/2 inch bolt on this reel. But reality of it, this is gonna have 8 bolts in it. These 5/16 would be plenty to hold it. But we'll probably drop some 3/8 in there, 1/2 inch, probably 3/8, I guess.
Yeah,
is what we were talking about.
3/8 for it, so.
Yeah. And then when the reel's off, we'll just drop in a regular 5/16. It'll be fine if they're slightly larger.
It's just for show.
It's just for show, that's right. Okay, well, how'd that work out for you? Okay?
Oh, blast. Those ones are right in the beam.
Of course they are.
I'm gonna just use a paddle bit or something to wallow it out. Yeah.
Told you should have checked those. You relied on me.
Should be fine, he said.
Why is nothing ever symmetrical? It's like,
So like
it's 50 inches apart.
that beam is here.
Oh yes, of course. The same thing that I should have known better. This has plagued us this whole project, is that whoever put this deck on, I don't know, maybe they broke their tape measure or something.
Maybe they had one of those tape measures that the first inch is actually a 1/2 inch.
Yeah, so the guy working on this side had a different tape measure.
Yeah.
They didn't calibrate them. Well, so that's about it for now. I guess we'll bring you back when we wrestle this thing into place. It actually slides around pretty easy for considering the amount of weight. Till then, I guess Matt's got to do some gouging on that beam down there, which would be fun, I reckon. Might just be able to get in there with a chisel on, just bust it away a bit.
That sounds dreadful.
It all sounds dreadful.
I'm just gonna go power tool on it.
Nice. Alrighty.